morning, everyone, and welcome to Amalgamated Academy's virtual Remembrance Day ceremony. To begin, please stand as Class 6-1 sings "O Canada" and "God Save the Queen." You may be seated. Our principal, Mr. Barrett, will now share his message for Remembrance Day.
Legionnaires and all members of the Amalgamated Academy School community, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to join us for this act of remembrance. This year, due to COVID-19 restrictions, it is more important than ever to take the time to remember and honor the sacrifices made by the many men and women who have served and continue to serve so that we can enjoy the freedoms we have today. Normally, the Remembrance Day ceremony plays a major role in remembrance and has since 1931. Every year, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we gather in memorial parks, community halls, workplaces, schools, and homes to stand in honor of all who have fallen. Together, we observe a moment of silence to mark the sacrifice of the many who have fallen in the service of their country, and to acknowledge the courage of those who still serve. Although we cannot gather in person, we must find ways to gather virtually to show our respect, and even just take some time on November 11th to reflect and remember. As always, our goal at Amalgamated Academy during this time of remembrance is ensuring that our students realize the importance of the sacrifices made. There are numerous discussions and lessons taught leading up to Remembrance Day, and pieces of work submitted demonstrating our students' understanding. I would like to congratulate all students on the exceptional pieces of work they did for the Royal Canadian Legion's poem, poster, and literary contest. Your work indicates that you truly do understand why Remembrance Day is so important. In advance, I would like to extend a special thank you to all those who have contributed to making this virtual ceremony possible. Thank you to all staff and volunteers who put a lot of hard work into organizing today's ceremony, especially Mr. Morgan, Mrs. Crowley, Miss Delahunty, and Miss Norris. I would like to thank Mr. Ross Petton and Major LeDrew for the messages, our grade 6 students and teachers for leading our ceremony and the wonderful performances. Thank you to Kara Mercer and Lucas Mercer for reading. Thank you to Neil Quinlan for the last post. Thank you to Connor Fewer and our intermediate art students for the art slideshow. And thank you to Haley Kavanagh Franey for the closing prayer. A special thank you to Mr. Terry Kelly for giving us the performance rights to use his music. Again, thank you to everyone for sharing in this remembrance, and may you all continue to remember.
Throughout our virtual assembly today, Class 6-2 will be presenting 6 hero minutes, remembering some of the many Newfoundland soldiers who went to war. Here's verse 1.
Thomas Ricketts is from Middle Arm White Bay, Newfoundland and Labrador. He was a sergeant in World War I, and he enlisted from when he was 15 to 18 years old.
Mr. Ricketts went overseas in April, 1 year after he joined the war, arriving in France in June. In August, shortly after his arrival in Western Front, he saw his first action during an attack across the Steenbeek, a small stream in Belgium. Later in the fighting at Marcoing near Cambrai, France, in November 1918, he was wounded in the leg. In September 1918, in Regiment, he was transferred to the 9th Scottish Division.
Thomas Ricketts was awarded the Victoria Cross. Later, the French government also presented him with the Croix de Guerre with Gold Star.
Class 6-3 will now be presenting a short skit entitled 2 Minutes of Silence. This skit is based upon and includes the song A Pittance of Time by Terry Kelly.
They fought and some died for their homeland. They fought and some died, now it's our land. Look at us students, there's no fear in our eyes. We must show respect for the moms and dads who have died.
Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who have died. In peace may they rest. We may never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time.
On réfléchit, on silence, à ce qui ont perdu la vie pour que d'autres, comme nous, vivent dans un monde meilleur.
Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time.
For the boys and the girls who went over, in peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time.
sont sacrifiés pour combattre il porchon.
Les braves qui se sont dévoués si courageusement pour suivre leur devoir.
Read the poems and letters of the heroes at home. They have casualties, battles, and fears of their own.
There's a price to be paid if you go, if you stay. Freedom is fought for in numerous ways.
Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who go there. In peace may they rest, may we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time.
S'il vous plaît, durant les 2 minutes, all incline la tête et on réfléchit en silence à ceux qui ont perdu la vie pour que d'autres, comme nous, vivent dans un monde meilleur.
Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest, may they never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. In peace may they rest, lest we forget why they died.
Take a pittance of time. 12 minutes de silence, réflexion, je me souviens.
Here is a second hero minute by Class 6-2.
Corporal Jamie Murphy was born in Conception Harbor, Newfoundland and Labrador.
Age when the soldier enlisted and served in the battle was 19. Soldier's rank is corporal.
Jamie Murphy fought in the War of Afghanistan. He was the first Newfoundlander to die in that battle.
Jamie Murphy was an avid sportsman and he really liked golf, baseball, and hockey.
We will now present the poem Au Champ d'Honneur by John McCrae and A Reply to In Flanders Fields by John Mitchell.
Au champ d'honneur. Au champ d'honneur, les colquicotes sont passées de l'eau en l'eau. Auprès de quoi et dans l'espace, les alouettes devenues lasses, mêlant leur chant au sifflement des abusés. Nous sommes morts, nous qui signons la vie encore, à nos parents, à nos amis, c'est nous qui répondons ici, au champ d'honneur. À vous de gens de désabuser, à vous de porter leur flamme et de garder au fond de l'âme le goût de vivre en liberté, accepter le défi, sinon les colquicos se feront au champ d'honneur.
I'll sleep in peace where poppies grow, the torch of falling hands let go, was caught by us again held high, a beacon light in Flanders sky, that dims the stars to those below. You are our dead, you held the foe, and ere the poppies cease to blow, we'll prove our faith in you who lie in Flanders field. O rest in peace, we quickly go to you who bravely died, and know in other fields was heard the cry for freedom's cause of you who lie so still asleep where poppies grow in Flanders field. As in rumbling sound to and fro, the lightning flashes sky aglow. The mighty hosts appear, and high above the din of battle cry. Scarce heard amidst the guns below are fearless hearts who fight the foe, and guard the place where poppies grow. O sleep in peace, all who lie in Flanders field. And still the poppies gently blow between the crosses row on row. The larks, still bravely soaring high, are now singing their lullaby to you who sleep where poppies grow in Flanders field.
Please stand for Last Post and 2 minutes of silence, and Reveille, played by Neil Quinlan.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
We are very grateful to the Royal Canadian Legion in Bay Roberts for once again being part of our Remembrance Day Assembly. Please welcome Mr. Ross Petton, President of Branch 32.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour. My name is Ross Petton, and I am the President of Branch 32 Bay Roberts, Royal Canadian Legion. It is my pleasure to be here with you today to talk about remembrance. I'd like to start by letting you know why the Legion is involved with Remembrance Day. Our organization is responsible for helping to support veterans and their needs. They can be everything from repairs to their homes to getting medical support. In Newfoundland and Labrador, we have more than 4,000 Legion members, many of whom volunteer to distribute poppies across the province in exchange for a charitable donation. Poppy money then goes directly towards helping veterans. Of course, things are a little bit different during this pandemic year. You can show your appreciation and support by wearing a poppy to honor our veterans. I would like to share a bit of information with you about Remembrance Day. As you know, it's an important day each year when we take time to remember our veterans and show our respect to those who have served and who have given their lives for our freedom. Remembrance Day is held every November the 11th and commemorates Canadians who died in service. The first Remembrance Day was held in 1919 throughout the Commonwealth countries like Canada and Newfoundland, and was originally called the Armistice Day. Eventually the tradition became that on the 11th hour of the 11th day, the 11th month, we come together to mark the signing of the armistice, or an agreement to stop fighting, which ended World War I, or the Great War, as it is sometimes called. An important part of Remembrance Day is the laying of the wreaths on the cenotaphs or war memorials around the province, and around the country, and even around the world. During the ceremony, a bugler will play the last post, followed by 2 minutes of silence, followed by the reveille. A bagpiper sometime also plays the lament. When possible, there is also a 21-gun salute. There are prayers and readings and a parade involving veterans, legionnaires, Canadian military members, cadets, and uniformed service officers, such as firefighters and police officers. Each of these traditions is important because they help us to remember the lives of brave young men and went off to war, not knowing if they were returned, and to also recognize the men and women who are current day peacekeepers. It also helps us to think about their families and their sacrifices. Newfoundland has a proud military tradition. It's certainly many of you are aware of the story of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment and its battles in Beaumont-Hamel, Gallipoli, and Monchy-le-Preux. I have had the opportunity, the honor of traveling to Europe to retrace the regiment's route on the battlefields. The route we follow was called the Trail of the Caribou, because there are caribou monuments erected in the honor of our soldiers' sacrifices at each of these sites. Some of you may have also visited the Caribou Monument in Baring Park in St. John's. It was very emotional to stand where so many young Newfoundlanders have stood, fought, and died These young men were just like you and I, and their lives were changed forever by war. I strongly encourage you to visit the battlefields in France and in Belgium if you ever have the opportunity. This is an important pilgrimage for all Newfoundlanders to make at least once in their lifetime. Here are one of the ways you might be able to reach this goal. Each year, the Royal Canadian Legion sponsors a literary and poster contest, which we ask students from across Canada to draw or write poems, essays about remembrance. Winners are selected and get the chance to attend the National Remembrance Day ceremony in Ottawa. In Newfoundland and Labrador, high school participants may also win the opportunity to travel to the battlefields in France and Belgium as part of the Royal Canadian Legion annual pilgrimage to Europe. These students are chosen from their winning entries in the Royal Canadian Legion's literary and poster contest, or in recognition of their accomplishments as Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, Cadets, Junior Canadian Rangers, or members of the Church Lads Brigade. When asked, former participants said it was an incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience which helped them to better understand and appreciate the sacrifice made by Newfoundland soldiers. So if you have a passion for drawing or writing, I encourage you to learn more about the Legion and its connection to Remembrance Day. You can find information on our website by visiting your local Legion branch. Did you realize that there are many signs around your community to help you remember every day, not just on Remembrance Day? You see Canadian flags, Legion buildings, war memorials or cenotaphs, and people in uniforms. You see peacekeepers on the news some days. You see street signs like Veterans Memorial Highway and the LT Stick Drive, which was named after a man from Bay Roberts who was the very first to enlist in the Royal Newfoundland Regiment in 1941. Did you know that we play the last post outside of the Legion in Bay Roberts every single day at 11 a.m.? So you can see the remembrance is around you every day. Let's be mindful to take time to remember our veterans and to show our respect to those who have served and who have given their lives for our freedom. Please visit our Branch 32 website and Facebook pages to learn more about the Royal Canadian Legion and Remembrance Day. It has been wonderful speaking to you today. It's important that we take the time to talk about remembrance and share the reason why we never forget. N'oublions pas.
Here is a third Hero Minute by Class 6-2. Stanley Hiller, soldier's hometown, High Beach, Newfoundland. Stanley left his hometown at age of 15.
Stanley Isaac Hiller lied about his age when he was 15, but he said he was 19. He was 18 when he fought his first war in World War I.
Stanley Isaac Hiller's rank was captain in the army. He fought in World War I, France, Belgium, and Egypt. Stanley Isaac Hiller returned home to High Beach, Newfoundland after his service.
We will now present an intermediate arts slideshow titled Amalgamated Remembrance, featuring the words and music of student Connor Fewer.
Poppies black and red, remembering all the soldiers that are dead. Moment of silence, put down my head, trying to wipe off all the tears I've shed. Remembering all the soldiers brave that now are lying in their grave, gave it all to keep us safe. The deaths we mourn, some hearts are torn, we shall remember, sound the horn. Rest in peace to the old and young, remembering you with all these songs we sung. So that is why we made this slide, for all the soldiers that have died. They went to war, peace is what they did fight for. For all the ones that did enlist, they will be missed. Guns are what they did wield, now they lie in Flanders Field.
Here is a fourth Hero Minute by Class 6-2.
Matthew Brazel lived in Spanish Bay, Newfoundland. He had 9 children. He was a hero to Newfoundland.
He was the youngest of Thomas and Mary Brazel. He was working as a miner in Bell Island.
He was 20 years old when he enlisted in battle, and his soldier's rank was corporal.
Brazel fought in the First World War. He returned home from war and then he passed away a few years later at the age of 63.
We now welcome Major Dwayne LeDrew to bring us the message of remembrance.
Well, good morning, staff and students of Amalgamated Academy. It is my honor and it's a privilege for me to be able to speak to you today. And although I'd love to be with you in person, that's not possible due to COVID-19. However, this is a great avenue that we can still take time to remember. When Mr. Barrett asked me to do this little speak today, my mind went in several different directions on what I would say. But the thought that kept going through my mind was, what is freedom? And yes, I looked in dictionaries. I even searched Google. But what really stuck out in my mind was something that I read from a grade 6 student, and this is what this student said to me. Freedom means the right to choose. I can choose my friends, my actions, my life. I can even decide what I want to be when I grow up and where I want to live. If all those brave men and women hadn't fought for us in war, who knows where Canada would be today? Freedom is something many people take for granted. And the student says, yes, even me. In some countries, people dream about freedom. They wish for it. That's why we should thank all the brave men and women who've risked their lives and lost their lives too, because without them, freedom would only be a dream for us too, and not the reality that it is. And I think this sums it up very well. We gather today. We set aside time outside of our curriculum to spend some quiet moments in remembrance. We gather together. As Canadians on November the 11th will gather all over Canada for generations to honor and to remember the men and women who have served and continue to serve Canada during times of war, conflict, and peace. Every year on November the 11th, Canadians pause in a moment of silence to honor and remember more than 2 million Canadians who have served and continue to serve today. You're here today as students and staff. Maybe you have grandparents, great-grandparents who have fought in the war. Take time today to remember them. Take time today to honor their lives. We gather together today to honor and remember the men and women who lost their lives while serving our country. We gather together to remember today those that have come home from war but are suffering. We remember those families that are left behind. We remember those that are still fighting for our freedom today. What gives them the motivation? Why do they do what they do? Why did they give of themselves so freely? Scripture says this: no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend. Now that was scripture from Jesus speaking. He is about to head to the cross because of sin of humankind. But before he goes, this is what he's doing. He's laying down his life because of love. He doesn't try to save himself. He doesn't try to run away. He doesn't try to put up a defense. He already knows what's behind him. He doesn't try to escape it. But he goes to the cross because of love. I believe today it was love that sent our men and women to be fighting. It was love that compelled them to go and to give of their lives so that you and I could have the freedom that we share and that we have today. We remember those that have paid the supreme sacrifice for our country. Remember those that have laid their lives down for friends, for you and for me. They weren't considering themselves at that point. I believe they were considering generations to come. It was love. Most of us will never be called to put our lives on the line as these veterans and those who remember today have done. But I believe that today, as Canadians, we have a calling to create communities that are safe. I believe today that the students and staff at Amalgamated Academy have a calling, have a duty to create communities that are safe, where people can feel at home, where people can live their best lives. Even here today in this school, we can model peace. We can have a school that's a safe place where people feel that they belong. Because of all that's been done for us, I believe that we ought to do that for others. What about you? I pray that today you would take time to look at your own life. Are you making your community a better place? I believe you're starting in a great spot in the fact that you're remembering. Well, today I believe that I hope and I challenge you to make life better for our neighbors, for our community. Today I'm thankful for the men and women who serve our country. We remember and give thanks to for their lives. We honor them by seeking to model that selflessness, by looking outside of our own selves, but building a community, a school, a country where people are free, where people can live their best lives in harmony and peace. God bless you.
Here is the 5th Hero Minute by Class 6-2.
Gordon Campbell Eaton, also known as Cam Eaton, is from St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. He was the captain in World War II.
Eaton enlisted in the war when he was 20 years old. After the war, he returned home to his family in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Eaton Eaton received the military cross for being very brave when he was under fire.
After training in Britain and service in North Africa, Eaton achieved the rank of captain.
After the war, Eaton played a central role getting benefits of the Newfoundland veterans. Class 6-4 will now present the poem Brave Soldats, including some of their own artwork to represent the poem.
Brav soldat, brave soldiers.
Brav soldat, brav soldat.
Brave soldiers, brave soldiers.
Alligator, alligator.
To war, to war.
Vous avez froid, vous avez chaud. You have been cold, you have been warm.
Pour la paix, pour la paix.
For peace, for peace.
Brav soldat, brav soldat.
Brave soldiers, brave soldiers.
À la guerre, à la guerre.
To war, to war.
Vous avez faim, vous avez souffert.
You have been hungry, you have suffered.
Pour la paix, pour la paix.
For peace, for peace.
Brav soldat, brav soldat.
Brave soldiers, brave soldiers.
Aujourd'hui, aujourd'hui.
Today, today.
Nous voulons vous dire.
We want to tell you.
Nous voulons vous dire.
We want to tell you.
On mercy.
On mercy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here is our sixth and final Hero Minute by Class 6-2.
Colonel Dr. Cluny Macpherson was born in St. John's, Newfoundland, and was 19 when he enlisted. He was the creator of the early gas mask and was the president of the Medical Council of Canada in 1954 and 1955.
Macpherson was a physician in the Army and served in both World War I and World War II.
During World War II, Macpherson served in ship convoys in the North Atlantic. He was appointed honorary colonel of the 1st Company Royal Canadian Army Medical Corps in 1957 and was awarded the Canadian Forces Decoration in 1964. Macpherson also created the gas mask for the wars.
He returned to Newfoundland in October 1916 after being injured in Egypt. He died at 87 from old age.
Grade 9 students, Haley Kavanagh Franey, will now share a closing prayer.
Dear Lord, help us lift our eyes above the torment of this broken world, and grant us the grace to pray for those who wish us harm. As we honor the past, we may put our faith in your future, for you are the source of life and hope, now and forever. Amen.
Thank you all for watching, and take the time to remember the sacrifices made by many brave men and women so that we may have our life in peace and freedom. Please stand as Class 6-1 sings the Ode to Newfoundland.
This has been an Amalgamated News Network 2020 production.